Gun shop employees of Reddit. What are some red flags that have caused you to deny a sale of a firearm? Serious. In the times before the instant background check, we just took their word for it. The guy answered yes on the "have you been convicted of a felony" question. I told him he couldn't buy a gun. He asked for another form so he could answer no. I told him to leave and never come back. Either it was an ATF sting, or he was too stupid to own a gun. I used to work for a big box outdoors store. It wasn't our store, but one in Fort Worth. We got an email about it. Woman called store and warned them her husband was on his way to buy a gun to kill her. Thankfully she called before they got there and he got denied. No idea what happened after that though. Already posted one here, but another doozy was sketchy bloke comes in and wants to look at lever action shotguns. Before this thing's even left my hands he's smashing the lever as hard and fast as he can. I asked him to not do that and had to explain to a grown-ass man why it's not okay to roughly handle a brand new anything that you haven't bought. He's got one of those 5-year-old kids he keeps interrupting us talking cause he wanted to hold the gun. I turned my back to double check price and when I turn around I'm looking down the barrel of the shotgun the father's handed to his kid and hear the click of him dry firing it at me. Ripped it out of this kid's hand and told the dad to get the frick out and dad starts abusing me cause I hurt his kid's hand when I pulled the shotgun away. Having his kid fire a shotgun in my face isn't that big of a deal apparently. Finally one that I can answer. I was living in Alaska for a year and picked up a part-time job in the winter as a gun counter clerk at a national sporting goods chain. One slow evening a kid comes in, by kid I'm talking college aged, and starts staring into the pistol case. I ask him if he wants to see one and that I'd need his ID to verify his age etc. All's going well. It's obvious he's new to guns. I ask him what his intended purpose and use was in order to find what might suit his needs. He says he wants a cowboy style gun and all he wants to do is to go shooting to let off steam. That his mum teases him for always being on the computer and growing up a pussy. The more I talked to him the more I realized he was just a closet weeboo otaku. My brother's a full-on weeboo so I told the kid about how they had a big group of friends who met once a year during AX or Comic-Con SD. Kid was straight up starry-eyed. Told me he wishes he knew people like that. That if he had friends like that he wouldn't have bipolar issues. In the end I told the kid not to buy a gun, save up his money and get the frick out of Alaska. I swear I've not had a happier customer. Dude didn't even buy anything. Back when I used to work behind the counter I had a guy who wouldn't stop sweeping customers and employees with the muzzle of firearms he asked to see. I warned him several times to stop. When he deliberately aimed it at a customer I immediately took the pistol away and kicked him out the store. That kind of unsafe behavior is something I won't tolerate and I certainly denied sales back then and I will deny training if I see it on the range now. Our range rents out firearms for trap skeet shooting. Had a lady come in asking strange questions like does it hurt if someone gets shot with it and also acted weird when she answered a call and told the person that she was at a coffee shop. She left, and we called the cops to file a report of a suspicious person. Drugs. Had a guy come in one time with his family and wanted something cheap. He had all these track marks on his arms, scabs on his face, and was really out of it. I did my best to tell him no without making a fuss and finally had to say something about the track marks in front of everyone. Not a good day for him. I guess he'd been telling his family they were from something else and they believed him. Gun license photo. In Australia looked nothing like him and he couldn't tell me the name or birthday on the license. I asked, because there was a lack of resemblance between him and picture and a big red flag when he picked up a rifle and pressed his eye hard into the scope to look through it. Just walked out with his head down when he was told we're keeping the lost stolen gun license. I like it when they make it obvious for me and, hopefully, joke about shooting at schools protesters. It happens more than you would think. Also, don't send your friend you were browsing with to try and buy the exact same firearm that you wanted 15 minutes after I told you I couldn't sell to you. Worked at a large outdoor store in their firearms section. Had a customer come in and ask about a precision rifle chambered in .338 Lapua. Then while handing him his background paperwork he asked how far can this bullet hit a human-sized target? He said he was buying it for big game hunting. A little sketchy, I know. I gave him some answer, at least 1,000 yards, but I'll get a definite answer. Walked in back to find the manager, who was the only person who can deny a sale. Explained what happened. Manager had him fill out paperwork and get his ID, then denied sale immediately after. And the kicker was he used his Chinese passport with a student visa as his ID. Police were called and they took it to the FBI. I used to work in a large outdoors retailer. I had a man come in for a gun that refused to give me his ID. Also didn't want to give me his name, address, date of birth or any other info. He said he should just be able to answer the questions on the background check and that should be all I needed. Sale denied. Reverse situation. Knife dealer at a gun show and a guy wanted to trade a fairly unique handgun for knives. I little geeky, but no major red flags. No problem. He picked out his knives, which resulted in a good size stack of blades. Talking to him while bagging them, he says he wanted to trade the gun for knives because I never get the chance to shoot people. I already had his info and reported him to local PD and had the gun checked. He came back clean and so did the gun. In the end, just an odd fellow. I worked behind the sporting goods counter at a Walmart. I can't remember exactly what made me think the guy was trying to buy for someone else, but the sale was suspicious. So I declined to sell him a long gun. He immediately got irate. He started yelling at me and slamming his fists against the counter, demanding that I hand him a gun. Sure, I'm going to hand the belligerent man a firearm. He demanded to speak to management, who escorted him out of the building. About a year ago I had a lady doing the paperwork to transfer a pistol and she asked the question, felonies go away after 20 years, right? I promptly picked everything up and said nope, have a good day. I worked in a gun store for about a year and a half. Had a couple guys come in asking for cheap firearms. Okay, no big deal. People are on a budget. Been there. So they give me a price point of about $250. Again, no big deal. They want a handgun, not a revolver. Showed them a used Hi-Point, Carnick, and a couple of cars and a Countach. They asked me to disassemble to see the serial numbers. Kinda weird, but figured they just wanted to make sure the guns matched up or something like that. Then I overhear them talking about blacking out the serial number. Ask them why they want to black them out and if they know it's illegal. Say that they wanted untraceable guns. Nope. Told them to leave. Former gun shop employee here. An automatic ejection from the store was when the customer asks which kind of firearm is effective for harming or killing people. I've personally called the police on a few sketchy buyers. All came through with having warrants or issues. My boss didn't take this kind of shoot lightly. We had short team meetings every week to ensure everyone understood what goes on. He was an excellent boss. I did front-end code for a lot of small firearm companies that used NFD and GFI websites to sell guns online. You wouldn't believe the amount of successful fraud there was in purchasing $10,000 scopes. However, the worst customer that one of them told me about was a man who had murdered his girlfriend a few days after purchasing a gun. She, gun shop owner, unfortunately didn't see any red flags and lost her business over what happened. She was forced to close for investigation, but by the time the investigation was completed she had lost too much money and couldn't afford to keep paying the lease on her location. Saying stupid stuff. Avoiding conversation and eye contact. Consulting their partner who they were hiding outside. Yes, we can see you out there. Some get by though. Husband and wife were looking for new turkey guns before the season. She came in later that week and picked up new hunting gear and shotgun. Walked to get car and shot herself. Lots of bolo phone conversations with other shops. Being near a city kept us on our toes. I tried to copy as many IDs as possible. In NY you can only handle handguns with a permit, so that reduced a lot of knuckleheads. I work at a small shop on the Ohio River. When I say small, I mean it's the owner, his son, and me. That being said, we sell a lot of firearms, because we have a decent selection and the absolute best prices available to any customer. With us being so small, we all see pretty much every gun sale. We will personally refuse to sell to anyone one of the three of us finds sketchy at all. If you smell of weed or alcohol, no sale. If we know you from our small town somehow and you've got a violent reputation, no sale. The most common red flag I see is children coming in with an older friend to buy the gun for them. If you look remotely close to being under 21 at all, we ask for your ID if you're with someone attempting to purchase a firearm. We see 16 and 17-year-old kids come in with friends who are 21, 24-ish that try to buy the gun for their younger friend. No sale that day, or any for either of them. I don't care if 24-year-old comes back alone, no sale. If the younger friend turns 18, no sale. Sorry bud, but if we feel it's not worth the risk, no screaming or crying or but my daddy lets me, is going to change our minds. Obvious straw purchases. Dude A asks all the questions and does the shopping and dude B, or girlfriend, wants to fill out the background check and pay for it. Get the frick out. 1. People saying or wanting several at a time and after questioning figuring out they were intent on going to the gun show to sell them for way more than purchased for. The common thing was people would buy a $500 to $700 AR then take it to a gun show and be able to sell it for $1,200 plus. This was during the Obama administration. 2. People not knowing what firearm they want, but being very general. Example. C. I want a 9mm. Me. Okay, any particular brand? C. Doesn't matter. Me. Okay. What price range are you in? C. Man. I don't care. I just need a gun. 3. People trying to buy for a friend, but try to say it's a gift. 4. People lying about their information. I'm sure some of the other gun sellers in here can help, but there's so many little things when it comes to dealing with people in the firearm industry. You learn how to read people, what questions to ask, and how to ask them. It's similar to when cops get a hunch and something ends up not being right. Happy to address any questions, concerns, etc. Thanks for reading.